This is exactly how you're going to get a swimmer's body, if it will actually let me fucking move the thing. A swimmer's body, lean and athletic, not a bodybuilder, in 3 simple steps. Okay? Now, just to give you some context on what's possible here, these are all me, if you hadn't already been able to tell. And I don't post these pictures because I think I look incredible or I'm, trying to flex or whatever. Like, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I know that. I'm happy with that because I don't want to be a bodybuilder. But this is how I look. And these were some photos taken of me in the gym, or like more like I took them of myself, in truth. But I like them because they kind of signify to me that I've hit my goal. Because I never used to look like this. All right, this is not genetically what I'm predisposed to looking like. And this was about a summer ago, and I'm just really happy with my body now because I look exactly how I want to look, and I want to teach you how to get to this point too, because it's not what's pushed by the mainstream narrative on social media. People on social media want you to look like bodybuilders, or at least that's the information they provide. Bulking and cutting and all of this complex shit in the gym, when really most of us just want to fill out our shirts a little bit more, have some abs, right? Feel good with our tops off, and confident in summer, maybe even with clothes on. All right, we just want that confidence. And it's not like you're not already kind of confident in who you are, it's just like another thing that would be nice to have. That's how I felt, okay? Because I worked a lot on my confidence as I grew up, and this was just something that I wanted, and I got it, and I'm happy, and I'm going to teach you how to do the same, okay? Because it really is life changing when you get to this point. And so I want to teach you how to do this in 3 steps to get that swimmer's body. All right, if you're currently in a position like this, these are just some of my clients. We got Rob here, who started with a bit of the kind of the skinny fat, and so did Will here. Both completely shredded it off, got abs, really developing that lean, defined, functional, athletic body that people don't. I never used to think it looked good when people just inflated and look like they're on steroids, but just look lean, defined, like cut and well proportioned, well balanced, but you can tell that they lift. And that's probably your main struggle right now. You just feel like even though you're going to the gym, you don't look it, right? That's how I felt. I was going to the gym so much and it just wasn't materializing in my body. And every time I looked in the mirror, I was like, this isn't right. This isn't adding up. Okay. And these guys felt the same way, right? They were into their fitness, they were doing things, but it just wasn't showing up. And so I'm going to teach you how to get that body in 3 steps. All right. So unlike a lot of the people just bullshitting you online, I'm just going to tell you how it is. Okay. You'll notice that this isn't a fancy video. Truthfully, the reason I don't make these videos really fancy is because I just get really burnt out when I try to, like, I can edit, but I get burnt out, and it puts me off. And I feel like this is an important message, and I want to share it in the most simplistic way possible. So that's what I'm doing here. So the first thing that you need to understand, and by the way, I have 7 years of experience here. I'm a qualified personal trainer. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So let me boil it down to you. The first area that you need to focus on, and this is order of priority, is nutrition. Okay, people are not lying to you on social media for, on the rare occasion when they talk about these areas mattering. Nutrition is absolutely the most important, and it sits at the top of the hierarchy of stuff that matters when you're trying to change your body from kind of this position to this position. It's absolutely down to nutrition. Okay. Now, what you're going to need to do is effectively decide on what you need to do first in terms of a goal. Because believe it or not, you are trying to build muscle and lose fat. That's what people want. Okay. There isn't such a thing as toning up, really. It's more of just a word that's been created by people who don't fully understand how recompositioning your body looks in the gym. But all people mean is they want to lose fat and build muscle. Those are the only 2 things you can really do with your body, because you can't grow new bones if you're over the age of like 20 or whatever. So the only thing you can do to change how your body looks is lose fat and build muscle. Okay, so that's what most people mean. And that's what happened here, and also what happened here. I don't have a picture of me before, but yeah. Nutrition is the most important because that is the biggest lever you can pull and should pull and have to pull in terms of making your body look different. Okay, and I keep saying different, but just like improving it in your eyes. Nutrition needs to be addressed. And the first thing to do is, now that we know that nutrition is important, we then, I wish this was a little bit smaller, that is now too small. The first thing that you need to do is decide on a goal. And what I mean by goal is, what you're going to try and do when altering your body composition first. So drop fat or build muscle. Now, the type of guy I'm talking to, we both know that you probably have a little bit of a belly, a little bit of a gut, nothing crazy, like it's just a little bit of fat. Like most people would even say it's not fat, it's just like normal to have that. And it might be normal for you, or it might have accumulated as you got into your 30s and you started working more of like an office or a work from home role. Happens to a lot of guys when you didn't used to have that fat. But because it's not loads, it also doesn't take that long to get rid of it, which is a good thing. But you most definitely need to get rid of it if you're trying to get this swimmer's body, this lean athletic look, okay? So the first thing that needs to happen is you need to decide on a goal, and I recommend and encourage you and heavily advise you to get rid of the fat first, because this is what people on social media will tell you. They'll tell you, okay, you're not the biggest guy in the world, you should just bulk. You shouldn't just bulk, because what's going to happen to you is you're just going to get fat. Okay, I don't know why I'm pointing at Rob, like that's not what I mean there. But you're just going to gain more fat, okay, when really the fat has to go first. So the first thing that you should decide on is fat loss as a goal. And the reason I'm talking about it in the context of nutrition is because fat loss is dictated by your nutrition almost completely, okay? So is muscle gain. That's why it's the most important thing. So we know that you want to lose fat, and we know that that is going to primarily happen through nutrition. And maybe a better way of saying that is how you alter or modify your current nutrition habits. So currently, you're probably eating, whatever works for you. And I know that's vague, but that's probably because your nutrition approach right now is vague. You're probably just eating like a person who just eats when they're hungry, stops eating when they're not, at least mostly. And then it is what it is. Maybe you're trying to eat some more protein, because you've heard that it's good to eat protein to build muscle, but you don't really know why or like how much more to eat. But you just try and make an active effort to. You maybe buy some protein yogurts or some shakes or whatever. You may, on the more advanced level, be even trying to roughly track calories, but you don't fully understand it. Okay, so this is probably where you're at with nutrition. It's all just a bit of a car crash and you don't really know what you're doing. You're trying to get into it a little bit, but you're just not sure because you're quite overwhelmed by how to approach it, and everyone on social media tells you something different. So what you actually need to do is the following, okay? What to actually do, all right? And it's simpler than you think, okay? So the first thing that you need to do, figure out your maintenance calories. What are maintenance calories? Well, it is literally the amount of calories that you need to eat for nothing to change. You don't gain or lose weight. It's exactly what your body needs in terms of calories. Calories are in every food. You eat a certain amount of food, you have a certain number of calories in that food that you've eaten. If it hits a maintenance level for you, your maintenance, because everyone's has a different one, you won't gain or lose any weight. So you're eating exactly what your body is asking for, right? So once you've figured out that level using an online calculator, just like this one, I'll link it in the description, put all of this in and it will tell you. You're then going to come back to the same calculator, put in your age and your height and your weight, whatever. I'm just going to say yes to all of this stuff, even though it's not true for me, just as an example. And it's going to give you some data for weight loss. So as I said, these are your maintenance calories. That's what you would eat if you wanted nothing to change. But we do want something to change. Now, a lot of people that tell you to cut are going to tell you to go for weight loss or extreme weight loss, so cutting a lot of calories. Don't do that because it's miserable. You'll get really hungry, you'll probably give up and you'll probably binge and then go right back to where you started. So actually, we're going to start with mild weight loss. And this is something that we call in my coaching a reset phase. So you're going to do a reset phase. And this is essentially where you drop your calories under your maintenance only 250 to maximum 400 below your maintenance. And that is called the reset phase. Now, the reason that we do that is it allows you to maintain your sanity because you're not fucking starving all the time. You burn away the fat and you even build a bit of muscle if you're lucky at the same time too. So you end up actually looking exactly how you want to look. Like these guys have just honestly done a reset phase. Like they haven't even done the other stuff and they have abs and they look great and they feel really confident. So the reset phase is very powerful. Again, it's not magic. I'm not fucking dressing this up as some marketing shit that you don't know about, okay? I just told you how to do it, so you can go and do it. but that's what you need to do with your food. In terms of protein, because I know that people have questions about that, eat 1 gram per pound in body weight at all times. So no, don't put it up, don't put it down. 1 gram per pound in body weight. So if I'm 180 pounds, I'll eat 180 grams of protein every day. That's it. Track both on MyFitnessPal. You can put that goal, that calorie goal that it's given you here, into MyFitnessPal, and your protein goal. Set carbs and fats to whatever they need to be, because it doesn't really matter too much at this stage for you. Track both and watch what happens. That's it for nutrition. Stop overcomplicating it. Next area is going to be training. Still very important. But guess what? Right now you're probably over... I don't know why it's put 2. I wanted a 2. I still want a 2. Okay, maybe if I do it like this. That really annoys my brain, but that's how it's going to have to be. So, in terms of training, all you need to do, and yes, this is literally all you need to do, is go to the gym consistently. All right? Because here's the thing. A lot of you guys, and a lot of the guys I come across, and we come across, as a coaching company, are guys that have been going to the gym inconsistently. And the reason for that, I mean, there are kind of a couple of reasons for that, but I will kind of explain what the usual sort of path looks like. So the first reason that you go to the gym inconsistently at the moment is because you're doing too much. And you think, I'm not seeing any results in my body, so I'm going to go 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I've even seen every single day of the week. Then you burn out. Then you hate yourself because you weren't able to stick to it. And then you come back to it a few months later. But because you're constantly falling out of it, nothing changes. So you're doing too much. You're trying to do too much. You're probably not even following a plan. You might be writing your lifts down in your iPhone notes. I know exactly what you're doing right now because I've been this guy and I see these guys all the time. So, in fact, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Going to the gym inconsistently, so this can be what you're doing right now. Writing your lifts down in your iPhone notes, roughly. But I think overall the big problem or the big thing here is that you just don't have a lot of confidence in what you're doing. No confidence in your workouts. And I don't mean like in the gym. I mean in the strategy you're following with your workouts. You don't know if it's the right thing. You keep seeing people on social media, influencers that look great, saying, hey, do this instead. No, you should do this. And you're just like, what the fuck? Which one of you guys is right? And so you change things and tweak things and doubt yourself and then stop because you get overwhelmed and you get in a tangle and you get basically paralyzed by indecision. And you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is right. I'm just going to stop everything because it's just such a mess in your mind. Okay. And I've been there. I know how it feels. It still happens to me just in other things than the gym. Okay. So that's what's probably going on right now. So you're probably following something that you don't really have confidence in or faith in, which means that you keep dropping in and out of the gym because you then start to do more because you're not seeing results. And then you fall out of it because that's unsustainable, especially if you have like a job. Going to the gym every day is pretty difficult. So that's what is going on with training. And I wonder if I can kind of mark this in red to kind of make my point a little clearer here. I'm still new to the software. That looks about right. No. That's it. All right. Excuse me. So that's what's going on. And let me see if I can highlight this as well, just because I'll give you an overview at the end of what's going wrong. And then this is the stuff to actually do. See how we're chunking it down? It's all making sense. With training, what you actually need to do, I wonder if I can copy that just to make my life a little bit easier. Copy, paste. Cool. I'm lazy, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm going to edit this now. Let's zoom in a little bit. So what you actually need to do, okay, is you're probably trying to go to the gym either too many times in the week, which is throwing you off, or you're following something that you just don't have any confidence in and you fall off for that reason. So why you are inconsistent, it varies, but the problem is that you're inconsistent, okay? And there's also some other stuff you might not be aware of. So what you actually need to do is find a split. If you don't know what a split is, don't listen to anyone else that's confusing you. A split is just how your body is split up in your approach to training over a week. So a full body split, you train a little bit of everything each day, okay? A push-pull legs, you train your chest and your shoulders on one day and your back and your biceps on another and your legs on another. That's it. That's what a split means. So find a split that works for you. Contrary to popular belief, the best split doesn't exist, right? In quotes, the best split doesn't exist. But there is a best split for you. Trust me. This is based on all my years and years and years of going to the gym and figuring this out myself and spinning my own wheels. There's a split that will work for you really, really well. You just have to find it. Okay? Any split can work. It really isn't about this. Okay? You need to find a split that works for you. And I wouldn't suggest building it yourself because you probably don't really know what you're doing. What I would suggest is picking a popular one that fits the days you have available to go to the gym. So what I mean by that is, why is it doing this with numbers? It's really pissing me off because I want to do it in order. All right, find a split that works for you. So if you only have 3 days a week to go to the gym consistently, I'm not saying just on an average week, I'm saying every week, because consistency is the key. We're trying to build something sustainable so that you eventually get that body, right? 3 days a week, you would follow a full body. You'd have to, because 3 days a week is fine, but you need to do a full body because otherwise you're not going to hit all your muscles enough in the week. So you have to do a bit of everything on those 3 days, if that makes sense. Okay? Whereas, let's say you have 4 days per week, which is also good. Again, not better, just also good. 4 days a week, you might follow. I like to do a mix of a full body and a push-pull legs, which is essentially just where you're doing an emphasis on a push day, an emphasis with a pull day, and then legs on one of those push days and one of those pull days, if that makes sense. So it's not about the split being best. It's about how many days a week you have available to go to the gym consistently that would actually fit into your schedule of work, whatever it is you do, that you can go, yeah, I can definitely make that every week. You see, because this is a long-term process, guys. So if you're trying to just throw in more and more days because you think you're not seeing fast enough results, you're never going to see results because you'll fucking give up and burn out. Okay? So find a split that works for you. That's it. And honestly, 3 days a week, full body, 4 to 5 days a week, push-pull legs are an upper lower split of some sort. Okay, now follow one that's actually been made very basically. It doesn't need just needs to be basic, and there's no secret or magic exercises. Just pick the ones that you enjoy, follow something reputable, and that's it. That is literally fucking it, guys. Okay, now find a split that works for you. But here's the thing that people get wrong. The only things that matter with the gym are a concept called progressive overload and failure. That's it. Notice how I don't tell you about a secret exercise for your biceps. I don't tell you about a superset or a drop set that you don't know about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm passionate about this because when I was starting this journey, I was stuck for years thinking that there was something I didn't know that was the reason I wasn't progressing as quickly as I was. There isn't. Okay? These are the only two things that matter. Now, if you don't know what they are, I'll tell you. Progressive overload, I'll call it PO for simplicity. You do more shit than last week. I get that that's a bit vague. All I mean is, let's say you do day one of your gym program and you have 3 days in the week. So you do day one, you do 8 reps for bicep curl with 10 kg, or I don't know what that is in pounds, like 20 pounds, whatever. Next week, you do more reps with the same weight. And guess what? If you can, you've progressively overloaded. You've just progressed since last week. But the key is that you should always try and do that each week, each session, because otherwise your body's like, well, I'm not going to change. Like, there's no reason to change. You're not challenging me. So you always have to be challenging your body. And that's why every workout should actually be hard, because otherwise your body's going to get very comfortable because it doesn't want to change. Okay? So progressive overload. Now, how you progressively overload, the way that that's actually going to work is you then need to train to failure. Training to failure just means you do reps until you can't. Simple. That's it. That's literally it. And everyone on social media complicates the shit out of all of these 4 points because they want views and because you are primed to consume the content. If there's some notion of something secret and a quick fix that you don't know about, there isn't. There isn't. You need to cut out this noise. These are the only things that matter. All right? So, guys, like it gets me amped up because it's true. You need to train to failure, so that means you're doing some bicep curls again, and then you hit a point where you can't do another one. Oh, well, that's failure. It means you've got to the point where your body's like, okay, that's pretty intense. We can't do any more. Because guess what? That means your body, between the time that you finish that gym session and the next time you do that same gym session next week, is going to think, oh, I probably need to grow or gain some strength so I can cope with that force next time. Because that was hard, right? It's survival. Your body's trying to survive. It doesn't know what you're doing. And so the next week that you go to the gym, you then can do more reps or weight because you trained to failure last week. And then because you can do more, you do more. It's still really hard, but week on week on week on week, you're getting stronger because of that. Because of these two systems working together. That's it with training. That's it. Now, the only other thing that you need to do is recover. Okay? Actually, recover and stay consistent. So what I mean by this is right now you're probably, this is kind of an interesting one actually. So right now, guys, I'm just lazy for copying and pasting honestly, but you might not be sleeping enough. So everyone's different, but under 6 hours is bad. Okay, I don't care who you are, it's bad. And there are loads of reasons for that. Maybe you have bad sleep hygiene, which I can make another video on, but no one cares about sleep. So the basics, again, are what matter. So you might not be sleeping enough. Interestingly, recovery also comes down to things in the other categories. So for example, if you're not following a program in the gym, or you're doing too many days, you might be doing something called overtraining, which basically means your body, it wants to grow, but because you keep going to the gym, it doesn't get a chance to, because guess what? You don't make gains in the gym, you make the gains outside of the gym when you're allowing your body to recover and grow. Simple. So the more times that you go to the gym, especially if you're not following a program that's set up properly, you're just like pounding your body saying, grow, 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 but it's never got the chance to grow if you just keep like stamping it into the ground. You need to give it a chance, right? It's like the analogy I always use is, imagine if you plant a seed and 10 minutes later you dig it up to see if it's growing. Like, what? You just wouldn't do that. Everyone knows that it wouldn't grow if you do that. You leave it, you water it, and you check back tomorrow, or in this case like in a few days, so you actually have time to recover with your muscles. So if you're not following a program in the gym, you're doing too many days, you might be overtraining. So that might be, I just lost my connection. So that might be a recovery thing. You might not be sleeping enough. And that's kind of it with recovery. The only other thing is like doing other sports on your rest days. So rest days are days when you don't go to the gym. May be bad if you haven't programmed these in properly. So all I mean by that is, like, if you like running, because I like running, and by the way, yes, you can build muscle and run, and you should actually, because that's how you become athletic and not just a fucking fat bodybuilder. Excuse my profanity, I'm just passionate. It's fine to do sports, and you should do cardio, it's really important. It's just, you need to know how to fit that into your lifting routine so that your lifts don't suffer and your cardio doesn't suffer, and most importantly, your body doesn't take a fucking beating, because that's very possible. All right, and you'll notice it and you'll get injured. Now, I'm not going to get into the weeds of what that looks like because it's so different for everyone. But, you know, like, I love running half marathons, but I've still built a very decent amount of muscle. And guys, I actually started out really skinny. I don't have the photo to hand right now. I'm going to get it. Yeah, so anyway, sorry, I just had to go and find that photo right there, because I realized I should have really done this at the start of the video, but I actually started out super skinny, and this was like 7 years ago now, probably more like 8, and then I got skinny fat, and I built some muscle, and that was me bulking. I was doing the whole bulking thing, which is why I'm so against it, and I got out of breath walking up a flight of stairs. Now, here's the thing, I was actually really unfit with cardio when I looked like this. Which you wouldn't expect, because you take one look at my body and think you could run a fucking marathon. Like, you wouldn't have a problem, you're as light as a feather. Actually, no, I sucked at cardio then, and I can run a half marathon here with very little training. In fact, I actually did that the other week. My friends asked me to run a half marathon with very little notice. I got ill for the week that I had, 2 weeks I had with notice that I was going to do that, and I still did a personal best time. But I have way more muscle, like I'm like 20 kg heavier here. So guys, don't think that you can't or shouldn't do cardio when you're trying to build your body. You absolutely should, especially if you want to be an athlete and not just a fucking fat mess. Because if you do start bulking, this will be you, all right? And I'm not just saying this because, look, guys, it's an epidemic, okay? Now, these guys hadn't necessarily bulked per se, but it's what can happen if you follow a lot of generic fitness advice. It's a very, very unique look where you just feel stuck, a bit skinny fat, like you don't really know what you're doing with your body. You need to decide on a direction, and if you keep trying to bulk through it, it's not going to happen. You want to get an athletic body like these guys and like me now, this is how you do it. You do the fundamentals, you do them really well, and you block out all the noise and bullshit, and you just focus. Because the main thing is that when you do all these things right, when you actually get all these elements here right for you, okay, and you underpin it with the science of what you're actually trying to achieve, guess what happens? You're blending science and the facts and the actual way that your body changes with a routine that is sustainable for you. So you don't fall out of the routine, you enjoy the routine, and because you're doing it based on science, you get the result. That's all fitness is, and changing your body and like building your body to be more confident in it. It's literally just the basics, because the basics are what science says works and that what do work. I'm kind of not even speaking properly now, but the basics work, and therefore you need to do them, but you need to do them in a way that you can be consistent with, because the human flaw is inconsistency, because you're trying to do something that isn't right or doesn't work for you. Okay, now on that note, this is, social media is the problem, and that's why this is a very raw, just uncut video of me ranting, but also trying to help you, because it just ruined my life when I started this journey, and the only reason I got here is because I persevered and waded through all this shit to find the truth. So here is the truth, guys. Here's the truth. And if you want more of the truth and you want to actually apply to your specific situation, if you want to shortcut the learning process and not drown in the details and get put off and start up again, and eventually, just end up spinning your wheels and getting nowhere over the next 5 or 10 years, you can click the link in the description, book in a call to chat with me or my team, and we will set up your very own program, one-to-one, to do something like this for you. Okay, and these guys aren't done. All right, this was just the reset phase I was talking about. And there is another phase after that, but I'm not going to get into that yet. This is primarily for fat loss and just getting you into that lean, athletic, defined state, which a lot of people are happy with. But if you want to take it to the next level, there's another phase for that. Okay, and we will help you do that and map it all around your life and how it could work best for you, because that's the main thing that's going to allow you to be consistent. The fundamentals don't change, but how it looks in your life to allow you to be consistent and sustainable with it, that's the differentiator. That's what has to be different between people. As long as the fundamentals are being met, it will work, but how they're being met has to be relevant to you and your life and your routine for you to be consistent with them. That's it. Now, following all that shit on social media, that's why you can't be consistent, because it's not right for you. And it also isn't, a lot of it's just bullshit for views. So no wonder it's not working. So if you actually want this mapped out around your life, the way that we do it, that we have done for tons and tons of guys at this point, then you can click the link in the description. But honestly, it's all here. I'm not hiding anything from you. So if you want to give it a crack on your own, go for it. But if you want to shortcut the process and not spin your wheels and potentially risk giving up again, then you can just click the link in the description and we can chat. But otherwise, I hope that was helpful. Please subscribe or leave a comment if you did find it helpful. It means a lot. And that's all from me. Yeah. See you later.